Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome to AMHQ Early. I'm meteorologist Jen Carfagno. We are tracking a major storm system now moving across the country, and this one will have big impacts from coast to coast, from California all the way to the east system. And it starts on the west coast, but it makes its way across the entire country, so you got to watch this one. It starts with this big bowling ball of low pressure dip in the jet stream coming in across the west. Look at the rain we have going on right now. Rain heavy at times across the San Diego area, up towards Santa Barbara. We've got some very heavy rain heading up to the Bay Area as well. Los Angeles, some lighter showers in the area for now, but there will be more heavier stuff coming our way later today. Could even be a thunderstorm or two. That's a possibility. We see some of this heavy rain on the move, not to mention the snow, which above 7,000 feet is going to be on the order of feet. 3 to 4 feet is possible at some of those highest spots. All right, so we're going to bring the rain not just in California, but now we're going to move it into Nevada and also into Arizona, where we have had such a dry start to the rainy season, starting to get some rain back into the picture. Rainfall will be heavy. Now, this is on top of the rain that we saw yesterday, so it's another 1 to 3 or even some places 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. Here's a closer look. So let's dive down here into the area to show you that easily 1 to 2 inches of rain will fall in LA. You know, in town, it's going to be rainy, but especially up in the hills and especially up in the mountains, that's where we've got the chance of maybe even 3 inches of rainfall, which is why, like in the Thomas Fire area, there is that concern for mudslides. Places that have been stripped of vegetation, we could easily see some of that debris flow happen. A big concern. You know, it has been dry. We have had one of our top driest starts to the water year on record. So you look at average and actual, so far below in all of these spots, from Fresno to LA to San Diego, barely had any rain going back to October 1st, which is the start of the water year. All right, so that same storm system is marching across the country, and that could mean more the rest of this week, get you into the weekend. This is a long weekend for many. Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so for a lot of you, that's a volunteer day. You might be making some plans to do that this upcoming weekend. Today and tomorrow, it's all about tracking our western storm system moving east. So your forecast today into tomorrow is for the snow to move into the mountains. We're going to see snow back into Colorado after our warm start to the year. That moves out on Thursday, heads into the northern plains. Meanwhile, rain spreads throughout much of the Ohio Valley and the southeast. And this rain is on the move Friday to the eastern seaboard. So this is a rainstorm this time for D.C., for New York City, for Boston. It's not going to be snow. It's going to be rain as it tracks on in. Temperatures stay pretty mild. The snow hangs back to interior areas. But Chicago, we could end the whole event with a couple of snowflakes clearing out. It looks spectacular for some morning color out there in the sky, but really a lot of the central plains. Now, you know, after this fog, I think we'll see how good of a sunrise your sunrise is this morning in places like St. Louis, but even in the mid-Atlantic, maybe D.C., we get rid of enough of those clouds to get a good-looking sunrise this morning. Coming up more on that now, Southern California, it's going to continue to bring rain here again today for the second day in a row. Plus, we'll spread some moisture into Nevada and also into Arizona, where it's been pretty dry as well. So the heaviest of rain right now in San Diego, and then up towards Santa Barbara, and then up towards the Bay Area, getting some decent rain as well. So the two different pieces to this at the moment. The snow is going to be a bit heavier too. Up above 7,000 feet is where some of the biggest snowfall will happen in the Sierra. So rain today spreading in, continuing through this evening. We get some rain and some mountain snow in Arizona. Flagstaff, you all will finally get your snow for the season. We haven't had anything really just yet. All right, so your forecast is going to be for another inch or two, if maybe even 3 inches of additional rainfall in Southern California. Tough to believe, right, considering how little rain we have had so far to start this water year. Not much at all, but we're going to put another 1 or 2 inches of rain. The higher amounts will be up in the mountains. We'll see maybe 2 to 3 in those areas. So here is that look at average compared to what we have had. Fresno, for example, we would average close to 4 inches by now. We have barely had a half an inch, but we're going to add a lot to that number today and into tonight. LA, San Diego, same thing as well. And then next, this system is going to head out into the middle of the country, and it becomes a snowmaker. So let's take a live Minneapolis, St. Paul, 25 degrees right now to start your day. We're heading to the upper 30s today. Enjoy your balmy couple of days, because this thing comes in and it does help pull in the moisture and the warm air out ahead of it. But then behind it, there's some more cold air to come back into the picture. So here's what happens. Tomorrow, the surface low starts to develop. We see the moisture come back across the southern plains. the air is warm to start, but then the cold air comes in, and when the moisture and the cold air get together, then we got the snowstorm on our hands. We see that by the end of the day tomorrow. So this is your Wednesday forecast. Snow spreading in the I-94 corridor, I-90, I-80. All are going to see that changeover, plus some gusty winds are going to be felt as well. We track our surface low up. We're going to be tracking the change in precipitation as well, changing perhaps from rain to snow in places like certainly Minneapolis will see it. Des Moines, we're likely to see it. Chicago, we'll see how much snow we get. You're going to be spending much more time in the rainfall bucket than you will the snowfall. Now, for us in Minneapolis, it's going to add up to 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 inches of snow. That would be our biggest snowstorm of the season if we get this much. We haven't had a lot of snow, kind of nickel and diming here and there, and we're running about 17 inches below average in Minneapolis. So here's a look at the overall snowfall forecast, and you can see that widespread, there's a 3 to 5 or even 5 to 8 inch snowfall expected from northeastern Minnesota right back into Nebraska. Now we go coast to coast with your Tuesday morning weather headlines. The Arctic and the Antarctic is a desert. There's just not a lot of moisture there. So that's the more of a definition of a desert than it is the heat. It's the lack of moisture. So anyway, that's your little weather 101 for the day. We'll go ahead and talk about what's happening with our next cross-country storm, where we're finally getting some moisture into what we felt like was a desert lately into California. So rain is coming back. That's a good thing in general, but it's too much at once, and it's putting people living near areas burned by wildfires at risk for flooding and mudslides. And as this storm moves east, we're going to see this be our next winter maker for the Midwest and the Northeast getting into the weekend. But we start today with what's happening right here as moisture starts to spread in throughout much of the West. It started yesterday, picked up about 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch of rain in places like Los Angeles, downtown. You got about 1/3 of an inch of rainfall. And then we are going to continue to watch the rain spread up towards the Bay Area, San Jose, etc. All right, so as the rain is on the move, and I think this particular clicker might not be working, we are going to be watching the moisture spread into places like Vegas. Consumer Electronics Show this week. You guys ready for a rainy week? Unfortunately, if you're in town for that, luckily most things are inside, because outside we're going to be having the rainfall. All right,